Greetings, welcome back. This is the fourth and final video in this series outlining and going into my commentary on the, the four gatekeepers to self-realization. Those four noble qualities as outlined in the yoga Vasistha's yoga. Say that 10 times fast, huh? All right, well, before I move on to the next gatekeeper, I just wanted to come back to contentment for a moment and describe one more thing perhaps that you can try, that you can work on to develop your sense of contentment, or at least to root out any sense of discontentment. So what I'll suggest for you to do is to put yourself into a situation where you have to wait. Put yourself into a situation where you have to wait without any external crutch or distraction. No phone to check up any Facebook or messages or reading whatever. No book, even if it's a book that's helping you on this path of seeking, or a self-development book, whatever it is. Just be present and be waiting. Not waiting with a sense of expectation, but just put yourself in a place where you need to be waiting, whether you're waiting for the bus or you're waiting in line. And if you find that there's no specific opportunity for that to happen authentically, and you don't feel like just going and sitting on a bench somewhere to simulate the waiting, you can simulate the waiting in the comfort of your own space, your own home, or whatever it is. Just sit there or stand there and do nothing. Just wait. My suggestion is that you don't put a specific time limit on it. At first you could put a time limit on it if you feel like you need to, 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And just notice your sense of contentment or discontentment. Notice the degree to which you feel like you need something in order to be satisfied with that present moment. The goal, the idea is to just be satisfied there, just because. Why? Because you are. Just because of your very being, you are satisfied within that space. So try that. Let me know what you think, how it goes for you. At first you might, if you're putting in a timer, you might be waiting for that time, or you might end it when that time comes. But after a while, maybe if you don't set a time, you will know when it's time to stop waiting, when it's time to move on to the next thing for yourself. And usually that will come once you feel that deep sense of contentment, just being. And in fact, if you do that and you repeat that more and more, you might relish that sense of contentment within your space of being. And so you might even prolong that. One thing you can do while you're waiting is to actively bubble up your sense of contentment. It's not an emotion per se, it's just a sense of satisfaction, of being. I don't know how else to describe it at this time. Really, you will it'll be clear to you when you grasp it. When it comes to you, you will understand, you will see it, you will appreciate it, and you will cultivate it. Undoubtedly, you will cultivate it. Okay, try that out. And now we will move on to the fourth gatekeeper, known as the company of the wise. The company of the wise is said to be more valuable than any religious practice, including charity, austerity, pilgrimage, or any religious rite. The company of the wise is said to be greater, more valuable than any of those. The company of the wise means flesh to flesh people, those truth seekers. But it also means the texts which guide us along this path, which propel us down this path, which help us to cultivate this path of truth seeking, of self-knowledge, of self-realization. And nowadays, it even consists of the videos that are available to us, the different content on the web and through other communications media, and really those communities that are building and forming around the seeking of the truth. The company of the wise, it helps us to expand our wisdom. It helps to keep us on track, to motivate us. Those wise ones, they serve as models for us. They serve as a resource for us, a source of wisdom and guidance. And as well, within that community, we serve as a model for others. We serve as a motivating force for others, and possibly as a resource for others as well, as a support for others as well. This community, this company of the wise, it keeps us in check. Everyone keeps each other in check. Everyone keeps each other going. You know, we end up seeking the truth together. And within this company of the wise, there's very, very little meaningless talk. There's much more meaningful silence more than there is meaningless talk. The idea is you are who you spend most of your time with. Show me your friends, show me the company that you keep, and I will tell you who you are. That sort of idea. Let's face it, the people that we spend our time with, the content that we consume, this is what we become. This is the direction that we take. So, in terms of practical application, what can you do? You can take account, you can take an inventory of who you spend your time with, what sorts of things you do with each other. Is it the type of people and the type of content that will move you forward on this path, shedding light on this path of self-knowledge? Or is it mainly distractions? When you are with the people you spend most of your time with, what are you doing? What is going on? What are the interactions like? What are the values that you all share together and cultivate within each other and model for each other? What kind of content do you consume on a regular basis? Whether it's YouTube videos or blog posts or books and articles. At least 90% of what you consume should be in line with your path. There's very little time and room for distractions. It's just how it becomes. For a truth seeker in this sense, there's little time to waste. And so you can take inventory of what you consume and who you spend your time with. Also, on top of that, you can seek out the kinds of communities that we might consider the good company. So it's called the company of the wise. It's also the company of the good. Not necessarily the morally good, but it's the company of the good. Others who bring out the best in us. And so I would highly recommend seeking out like-minded people. What I found in my own life to be very helpful was I started practicing yoga, yoga asanas. I started and have been working with the Bikram style of yoga pretty much. And the community that I joined, I didn't know it at first, but it just turned out to be such a great community of positive individuals who are uplifting and supportive and of good humor. We support each other, and we just feed off of each other's positive energy. And interestingly enough, since most of the time is spent together in the hot room, silent and focusing on we're just focusing on ourselves. We're not focusing on each other. I'm focusing on myself. They're focusing on themselves. So there really is very little talk. There's much more meaningful silence than there is meaningless talk. And that seems to be a very beautiful thing. But perhaps the yoga postures is not necessarily your avenue at this time, or maybe you're already involved with that, and the next thing is to seek out these like-minded individuals in other areas. And so, for example, stick around here, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and we can continue this conversation. Comment below, ask questions, and let's propel each other down this path. I hope you've enjoyed this series of videos. I hope they've been meaningful for you. Do revisit them, watch them again, come back to them as you need. I'm sure I will too. I hope you stick around. I look forward to our ongoing discussion. And until next time, peace out.